Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. NBA rumors: two teams besides 76ers willing to trade for Jimmy Butler, give max contract extension. Miami Heat star Jimmy Butler's willingness to leave Miami doesn't appear to be all that massive right now, but the Philadelphia 76ers are getting ready for a potential change in that situation. If Butler does force his way out, the 76ers are reportedly willing to offer him a maximum contract extension. Now, there are at least two other teams that would be willing to do the same as the 76ers, per Anthony Chang of the Miami Herald. Along with the 76ers, according to league sources, there are two other teams that have made it known in league circles that they would be willing to trade for Butler and sign him to a max-level contract. Butler turns 35 on September 14th. It's unclear which two teams Chang is alluding to when he reports that other teams beyond the 76ers are willing to trade for and extend Butler. Butler and his camp have been pushing for a contract extension this offseason amid his publicly stated desire to finish his career with the Heat. The two-year max extension that Butler wants includes salaries of $54.3 million for the 2025-26 season and $58.6 million for the 2026-2027 season when Butler will be 37 years old. He's already under contract with the Heat on a $48.8 million salary for next season. So essentially, Butler will ask the Heat to replace the 2 years and $101.2 million remaining on his contract with a 3-year commitment worth $161.7 million. It was not the ideal year for Butler and the Heat. They were crumbling in late-game situations, and their depth clearly was not there during the regular season. Add the fact that he also sprained his MCL in the NBA play-in tournament and it made for a season-ending disaster. Before going down, Butler averaged 20.8 points, 5.3 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1.3 steals per game while shooting 49.9% from the field, 41.4% from three-point range, and 85.8% from the foul line. He was one of only 5 players around the NBA this regular season who averaged more than 20 points per game while shooting better than 49% from the field, 41% on threes and 85% from the foul line, along with Kevin Durant of the Phoenix Suns, Kyrie Irving of the Dallas Mavericks, Kawhi Leonard of the Los Angeles Clippers, and Karl-Anthony Towns of the Minnesota Timberwolves. On defense, his tenacity never left. Butler had a keen eye for the passing lane and movements of his opponents to average 1.3 steals per contest. The 76ers desperately need to add another two-way star next to Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. The team has been extensively linked to Paul George this offseason, but, if they aren't able to land PG-13, a reunion with Jimmy Butler would be a very nice consolation prize for a team looking to take the next step. Heat All-Star just the latest in long line of players linked to Sixers. Jimmy Butler is the most recent NBA star to be linked to the 76ers. Not coincidentally, many of those links come from writers close to the Sixers themselves. Butler reportedly wants an extension that adds a year to his current deal with Miami, but there have been no reports that the Heat are unwilling to give it or that Butler demanded a trade. The same goes for potential free agent Paul George, supposedly Philadelphia's plan this summer. But after the Clippers gave coach Ty Lue an extension through 2028-29, ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski reported that the Clippers were determined to keep both George and fellow veteran star James Harden as they prepare to move into a new arena. There seems to be no end to the list of players who have been linked to the Sixers by, well, the Sixers. In addition to Butler and George, LeBron James and OG Anunoby have also been hypothetical 2024-25 76ers. It's not that playing with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey is unappealing or that players don't want Philadelphia's money. It's that in this era, it's rare for stars to change teams in free agency. The Lakers, Knicks, and Clippers can all match offers for James, Anunoby, and George, respectively, and they all finished even or ahead of the Sixers this season. That's why it's far more likely that Philadelphia trades for a player already under contract, like Brandon Ingram of the New Orleans Pelicans. Cap space allows for a lot of flexibility, but it only goes so far in recruiting players. No matter how many rumors come out of the Philly media. 7 teams that could be willing to trade for Jimmy Butler this summer. With Jimmy Butler's future with the Miami Heat unresolved, other teams are coming out as potential destinations for Butler should he decide to ask for a trade. Butler, who turns 35 in September, is eligible for a 2-year extension worth $113 million, or an average of $56.5 million, that would keep him under contract through the 2026-27 season. Heat president Pat Riley has already made it clear that he prefers not to enter those negotiations this summer. "We don't have to do that for a year. So we have not discussed that internally right now," Riley said during a season-ending news conference earlier this month. "We haven't made a decision on it, and we really haven't in earnest discussed it. So we'll just see what happens." Butler is under contract for $48.8 million for the 2024-25 season and has a player option for $52.2 million for the 2025-26 season. He would have to decline that player option to add on any extension. According to the Miami Herald, Butler's top priority this offseason is securing that maximum extension, preferably from the Heat, but potentially from another team if Miami is unwilling to do so. The Philadelphia 76ers, if they are unable to sign Paul George in free agency, could be one of those teams. League sources told the Herald that, along with the 76ers, there are 2 other teams that have made it known in league circles that they would be willing to trade for Butler and sign him to a max-level contract. What other teams could be willing to give Butler the contract he's looking for, and what would a trade with those teams look like? Let's take a look. 1. Philadelphia 76ers. The Sixers' motivation is obvious. Team president Daryl Morey is seeking a third star to play with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey, and has up to $65 million in cap space to spend this summer. Signing Paul George, an unrestricted free agent, is the cleanest path toward acquiring a star. But if George returns to the LA Clippers, then Morey could pivot to acquiring a star via a trade. The 76ers could absorb Butler's contract into space without sending any salary back to the Heat, who could get draft compensation in return. Philadelphia can trade up to 5 firsts starting in late June. 2. Houston Rockets. After missing the play-in tournament by 5 games, the Rockets are under pressure to make the playoffs next season. Acquiring homegrown Butler could be a way to put them over the top. The Rockets have the contracts, young players, and draft picks, including this year's 3rd overall pick, to make a deal attractive for the Heat. Building a trade around Dillon Brooks, Steven Adams, a young player like Jalen Green, Tari Eason or Jabari Smith Jr., and draft picks would be one of the stronger returns the Heat could get for Butler this summer. 3. San Antonio Spurs. Another Texas team looking to make a leap next season, the Spurs could be motivated to acquire Butler to pair with young stars Victor Wembanyama and Devin Vassell. San Antonio is second behind only the Oklahoma City Thunder in first-round picks over the next 7 years and has the salaries and young players to build an attractive offer. 4. Sacramento Kings. Among the teams under pressure to make improvements this offseason, the Kings might be the most impatient after a disappointing play-in tournament exit. Butler fits as a two-way wing who could dramatically improve the team's defense around the offensive-leaning duo of De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis. Would Sacramento be willing to include 23-year-old Keegan Murray in a deal? 5. Los Angeles Lakers. If the Lakers strike out on deals for Trae Young or Donovan Mitchell, could they turn to Butler to complete a big 3 with LeBron James and Anthony Davis? While the fit seems clunky, the Lakers might not care. They could trade Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Jalen Hood-Schifino, plus Jared Vanderbilt or Gabe Vincent, and limited draft capital in a deal. And are you a fan? What do you think of Jimmy Butler's exit? Leave your opinion in the comments.